Decade after decade, despite various plans, despite various ground level actions, this is not, somewhere the gap goes on increasing. As we go forward, the consumption goes up and the deficit seems to never vanish. So how do we get the 300 to 400 million people who are still without power to become part of the grid? So could we start with Mr. B.V. Rao, Director Technical, IREDA, to give his views? He's been so long in the thing. What are the challenges of reaching power to all?
The Prime Minister has already given that power for all by 2019, in fact, I think it's 2022, of course, that's what we are. But still, I think they wanted by 2019. And today, the power situation, all of you are aware, and the power generation from both the conventional and the renewable energy sources. And a lot of importance has been given for the renewable energy sources because of various problems associated with the conventional power plants. And the last 2 years, all of you are aware that because of the coal supplies and then many of the institutions and many of the developers and the industries, in fact, they were little bogged down. And now we have reassessed the renewable energy sources. In fact, today it is around 1,000 gigawatt plus. That is the renewable energy potential which we have seen. And out of that, the solar energy particularly, they say around 740 gigawatts, that's the availability, and around 300 gigawatt for the wind energy, and rest from the other sources. So this is one source, in fact, probably will be providing a green energy and then the energy for all in the rural areas also. Even though we are going for the large power plants from the conventional sources, that may not be able to achieve that kind of target because there are very remote areas and where there is no accessibility for the power. So now the kind of plan which already they have rolled out, and in the last RE Global Summit, which was held in the February 2015, and we have made a commitment, green energy commitment from various developers, the various institutions. This is the first of its effort that we have got the commitment from all the corners and all the stakeholders, not only from the public sector industries, public sector companies, and also from the private companies, and also from the banks.
Let's bring Mr. Dr. N.P. Singh in, who's spent 17 years as an advisor and continues to advise the government, especially on the question of renewable energy. What do you think is the challenge? I mean, these are really big, big targets being kept and big finance being committed. But you've been actually grappling with this in the government for so long. What do you think are the real challenges?
I would like to say this, that the government of India, as Mr. Rao mentioned, has said that affordable 24/7 power to all households. So it's only for India, but not now. Last week, there was a COP21 deliberations, and Honorable Prime Minister of India has taken a lead and launched an alliance, International Solar Alliance, jointly with the President of France and the Secretary General of UN. And India took a lead that yes, this affordable power not only to India, we will help 121 countries which are lying fully or partially between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, which is mainly solar-rich nations. Like India, they are also having throughout the year good solar installation. We will help them also, and it's possible. Out of this 175 gigawatt, 100 gigawatt is solar. And when we broke down into various schemes, we found that it's achievable. How? I will tell you that we have roofs in the cities, urban cities, and in the villages, in the institutions, you might have read about the Ceylon, Cochin airport, 12 megawatt solar power, meeting their own requirement as well as giving to the grid. You have seen our metro, Delhi Metro initiative, that they were buying 10 rupees to 12 rupees per unit of electricity, and through solar now they will be able to get it 6 rupees, and most of their railway stations and on all the roof and the land available they are covering. So like that, if each house is converted into a powerhouse, which is possible, because the beauty of solar is that it can be from few watts to megawatt. The only challenge is that the large power plants, which are actually located in far-flung areas in the desert of Rajasthan and other wastelands, there the evacuation and then injection of that such large power is the main challenge, because this power is inform, as you know. So all over the world, and our discussions is that how we can inject more and more renewable power to the grid for time to come. And
tell us something what's happening now, because Mr. Modi is really aggressive on solar. He speaks about it, he propagates it. So, how far have we reached along this plan? How much have we actually generated?
He took this actually drive from when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat. Actually, he lot of projects in the solar farm megawatt level. That time no other state took lead, rather the canal top solar megawatt level was done. So, and it's going, I think you might have seen in last 4 years, the prices of solar has crashed. It has come from 17 rupees to now 4 rupees 63 paisa, which have been bid for last two bids, not only one but two, and by two different parties. So I think it's coming towards reality. Only the challenge is that we have to have the low cost power, low cost finance, and some innovative finance.
Seema Gupta into it, and she represents the Power Grid Corporation, which is actually doing the transmission, reaching it. And the interesting thing is, as both of you all have pointed out, we've not done too badly. I mean, we are the third largest generator of power. I think in 2013 we became number 3, I think. And we have nearly 5% of the global share of power distribution. And the thing is, it's sort of, the global share is large, but at the same time, 1.4 billion of those in the world who do not have power, 300 million are in India, which is about 25% nearly. So the point is, it's really, the thing is, I think if you can tell us what's really the challenge of reaching, how do you reach the grid to the furthest corners? Is that a major finance issue? Is it right-of-way issues? What are the problems?
What does the role transmission plays? As we all know, the power is an infrastructure. Now, transmission is an infrastructure to infrastructure, because you may generate at one place and you have a load at other place. So the transmission acts as an enabler. It transmits the electricity from one point to another. In that front also, India has done wonderful. We were only 132 kV voltage level when we started at the time of independence, and that too it was supplying to a localized area. Then gradually the integration of the grid was taken up, so that power which is available at any corner can reach any corner. If I take you through a small journey in 2 minutes, first we had the state utilities which were combined. So any power available within a state could be transferred anywhere. Then in the 75-76, the era came of connecting the states, because we realized that each state is not sufficient. We were focusing earlier on a thermal, hydro, and bit of gas. Then regional grid concept came in the 70s and late 70s and 80s. So all these state grids were connected, and they were formed as regional grids. And India was operating as 5 regional grids. Progressively, it was found in the late 80s or 89, each region is also not sufficient. The way the India is progressing, we were saying a growth of 8 to 9% as far as the GDP, as well as in the power. So each region is not sufficient. We need to interconnect. Then the concept of one nation, one grid was floated, and all the regional grids were progressively connected initially through HVDC link because of the technical considerations, and now they're all synchronously connected. So India is one of the largest, I cannot say the largest, maybe one of the largest synchronous grid in the world, where all the regions are connected synchronously. So it makes it, if the power is available in northeastern region, I'll come to the clean energy a little later. If the power is available in a pithead stations, we have a coal reserves in Chhattisgarh area, or hydro reserves in J&K, Himachal, and in northeastern region. and the power can be transferred anywhere in the country.
I mean, just as a question as a consumer, in Mumbai, I'm paying 12 rupees a unit. Now, I mean, is it ever going to come down? I mean,
Actually,
this
sir,
is ridiculous.
Actually, sir, in India, the electricity is a concurrent subject. It's both state as well as the center is responsible.
Is it going to come down, the rates for the consumer?
It will come down because they are the very important sectors. One is the interstate transmission, where the role of center comes. They make the policies and they promote interstate transmission of power. Then within a state comes under the purview of state electricity board.
And the distribution
and the DISCOMs,
companies.
distribution
and
companies.
The distribution companies, they fine us. The more you consume, the higher the rate charge.
That is because something is in shortage.
So it's a disincentive.
Ideally, in an economy of scale, if you consume more, you should be given an incentive.
Precisely.
But if something is in shortage, so there we promote that everybody should use it very optimally so that the people who do not have power can have access to power.
Right. Now, we just bring Mr. Ahuja in. You've heard what's happened, I mean, what the comments have been so far. And so just to sort of trigger it off, I mean, you think the challenge of 2019, 2020, reaching power to all, you think that's possible? Is it realistic? What is your view on that? And of course, you could also add to whatever the other speakers have said.
Morning. We all heard my co-panelist that Prime Minister has announced next 1,000 days. In Singapore, announced next 1,000 days war for all. Earlier 2022, 19, now Singapore was 1,000 days. It's about 3 years. I think power for all is a dream which everybody has to understand how it can be realized. Number one, there is the issue of power surplus in this country. As on date, there is a lot of standard capacity which is not getting evacuated. We are telling 300 million people have no access to electricity. Even if 300 million people are connected today, and even they consume 200 units of power, average power in a year, which is a low level. About 60 billion units of additional power is required, which NTPC can supply right on the date, today itself. My plant is running at 80% PLF, 78% PLF now, which used to be 92% PLF. State 20% we can increase power supply the moment we connect this load. But unfortunately, this is not being happening because of 3 or 4 issues. Because as Seema has told, power is a concurrent subject. So there's a link right from power generation to power transmission to power distribution, collection, metering. The last link always in India been very weak link, which is collection of money, tariff, metering, right metering, right collection. Because of that, financial health of DISCOM, as we know, is really bad. Many schemes have come. Now latest is Uday scheme. But till that last leg is set right. Any amount of generation, because capacity is available right now also. Gas stations are standard, coal stations standard. Power is not being purchased by states as load shedding because they are not in a position to pay the money. You're telling 12 rupees at Bombay. We are right. But even now, Maharashtra is making a loss. DISCOM. Yeah. That is because of theft or inefficiencies, whatever you can say, or because of low tariff to slum dwellers or whatever, cost subsidy. So this is a situation till this DISCOMs become self-sufficient, self-sustaining, power for all will remain a dream. Because we can go on adding capacity, we're making investments. A lot of investments, we've added a lot of capacity last few years. But the generation is not increasing at a pace which it should increase.
The deficit is 3.5 lakh crore. Is that around that?
Whatever is number, but fact is that my PLF has come down from 92% to 78%.
But is it also linked to transmission?
No, transmission constraint. We are declaring we are not getting scheduled because the schedule is being linked to the paying capacity of the DISCOM. Whatever paying capacity is there, they are giving schedule. Otherwise, they are giving for load shedding. That is the situation right now because gas stations, in any case, are not getting scheduled because gas is very costly. About 7 to 8 rupees is the cost with power generation with gas. So gas is just 25% PLF. Coal stations, which are below 2 rupees or 2 rupees 50 paisa, they are getting dispatched. Anything between 250 to 4 rupees getting bottled. So that is the scenario. In that scenario, bringing in our renewable, Mr. Rao told renewable, which right now is 463. NTPC is a part of that scheme. 463 has come for this yesterday also. Even with 463, there's no storage. There's no storage. And we have to have capacity spinning balancing reserve because the solar without storage can generate only for 7 to 8 hours in the morning in daytime.
Paris is something which we should bring into the discussion, and you've raised it in a way. And I mean, the two renewable persons who are sitting to my left, I mean, it's a very important issue because there we have committed now.
We have committed, rather we have actually on behalf of the all developing countries, India took lead that polluters to pay.
And according to Mr. Ahuja, there's no way out except going thermal. Now, you see, are we going to land up breaking those?
I think there is no other way, it's not a correct, but thermal has to continue. Thermal has to continue, but so other renewables have to.
So what do you think will be the mix, and how does this pan out?
He has already mentioned about 30 to 70 like type, but with the hybridization of renewables like solar wind, solar biomass, solar hydro, which we are thinking of, that is also one possibility that we can increase renewables into the grid with that firm power, making them firm power.
But from the point of view of pollution and other issues, I mean, for instance, it's a real issue for Delhi today. I am myself suffering a cough allergy which I can't get out of. Now, I mean, these are all ultimately related to these kind of issues of excessive carbon dioxide coming into the...
That's why we have to opt for renewables.
So I mean, the point is that how do we face the challenge of Paris? I mean, because now we have committed to sort of reducing. We are reducing not only the emission, but reducing our dependency on fossil
fuels.
So how do we face that challenge?
That's why we are having this mix like that, 175 gigawatt. 100 gigawatt will come like the rooftop solar, as I mentioned, that it is in urban as well as in rural areas also, that 40 gigawatt, 40,000 megawatt in the form of rooftop solar, which comes, as I gave the example of Cochin Airport, metro, even stadias, and various, the Priyavaran Bhavan.
My problem is this.
So it will come like that.
Final note, thank you very much, a very distinguished panel, which have added a lot, at least to my knowledge, and I'm sure to the rest of the audience.